Okay, this is going to be question 7 on our practice quarterfinal in the application section. Stocks are always going up for some gosh darn reason. Right now, one of them is valued at $800, but as investors really like to know how much money they want, they increase, by a percentage per year. And investors like to know, is this a good stock at some percent? Now, the question is, what is the rate if the stock is 1,000 in 7 years? So clearly it's increasing. And so one of the things that I want to do is that I want to figure out the percentage. Clearly I need to highlight some words. 800 is the first one because, that's the starting amount. And it grows to 1,000 in 7 years. What am I going to do with that? And especially what equation am I going to use? Whenever we're talking about stocks or any amount of growth, it's usually exponential. And the way that we do exponential is this equation. This is the standard growth equation for exponentials. A times 1 plus r to the power of t. I'm going to use this formula based on what information I have. My starting is A, so I'm going to put 800. Do I know my rate? No, because that's clearly what I'm figuring out. So I'm going to say 1 plus r. Do I know time? Well, the only time I see is 7 years, so I'm going to put 7 here in my equation. But then what am I going to do with that equation? Well, it has to equal to something at the very end. In this case, it should equal to 1,000. What am I going to do with this now that I have this equation? I want to solve for r. How do I do that? I want to get rid of the 800. One of the ways I can do that is do division. It's multiplying, so I do the opposite, which is dividing. 800s cancel out, just like this. That leaves me with the following. I get 1 plus r to the power of 7 equals whatever this is, which I believe should get us 1.25, if my memory serves. 10 divided by 8 should be 1.25. Now, I want to get rid of the 7 because it's clearly a power. But how do I do that? This is the key thing about these exponents. In order for us to do the opposite, or to get rid of it, I have to do the inverse. Well, what's the inverse of this 7? It's not negative 7, as some people think initially. The one way that you do this is by doing it as a fraction. Here's what I mean. 7 can be seen as 7 over 1. If I flipped it, that would be 1 over 7. So I'm going to do that to both sides. So in parentheses, I'm going to write 1 over 7, parentheses 1 over 7. So what happens to the powers? They cancel out, leaving me with 1 plus r equals 1.25 to the power of 1 over 7. I'm going to put that in my calculator. 1.25 to the power of 1 divided by 7, giving me 1.03. Now, what am I going to do with this? I don't like this 1 next to the r, so I have to do the opposite. The opposite of this positive 1 is negative 1. So I'm going to subtract both sides, giving me r equals 0.03. If I had to convert this into a percent, because this is a decimal, this really just becomes 3%. And that is our final answer. So notice this exponential equation. You have to see what you're given. I'm given 1,807 years, and I have to use this exponential growth function. I plug in what I know. I want to solve for r. Big thing about this problem. I don't like that 7. It's not negative 7 as the opposite. It is the reverse as a fraction. 1 over 7 on both sides. Remember, that's also a power. And that's the end of this problem.